floor and let you go.
Thank you, guys. It's good to be here. I met several of you in the back, and for those of you who have served our country, thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it. And we have to celebrate that for the next generation. And we're going to talk about that today. We have a crisis, a national pride in this country. That's something we're going to fix. Yeah, let me ask you a question. Actually, I appreciate it. You just mentioned to me about the third debate. Who saw that last debate, the Republican debate? Good. A few of you did. Well, let me tell you, I'll call out the Democratic Party on their hypocrisies. I think that the Biden administration has sold off our foreign policy to make their family rich. You think it's a coincidence that the same country, Ukraine, that paid a $5 million bribe to Hunter Biden is the same country that Joe Biden is now sending $200 billion of our taxpayer money to? That's not a coincidence. They sold off our foreign policy to make their family rich. And you know what? Joe Biden's not even going to be the nominee. He's not really the president of the United States. We have to acknowledge that truth, and I called that out on the debate stage. Tell us the truth of who you're actually going to put up. This is a farce in the meantime. So I'll call out the Democrats because we got to hold them accountable. I'll call out the mainstream media. The moderator of that debate lying for years about the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that never was. Lying for years about now the Hunter Biden laptop story, which we were told was false Russian disinformation, we now know was true. So I'll call them all out, but I can't do that if I'm also not telling the truth about our own party, the Republican Party, where we have now a string of failures since Ronna McDaniel took over, 2017. Now we have 2018, 2020, 2022, 2023, all disasters in our own party. And so this campaign's about speaking the truth, not just about the other side, but about our own camp right here in the Republican Party. And there's a reason why many of the positions that I've taken, releasing and pardoning peaceful protesters on January 6th, making sure that we pardon President Donald Trump, whether we abandon the climate change agenda in this country, get transparency on how our money's being spent in Ukraine. There's a reason I'm the only one in this race who's actually able to speak openly, because the Republican establishment does not approve of the message we're about to talk about today. So let me get into this. I'll tell you why I'm in this race, all right? The Republican Party, for a long time, we've become lazy, actually. We've become lazy about just criticizing the other side's agenda. The other side will feed our vacuum with race, gender, sexuality, climate. And I want us actually offering not just criticism, but a vision of our own. Individual, family, nation, God. That beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate if we have the courage to actually stand for something. We've gotten lazy as a party. For a long time, we have been running from something. But now is our moment to actually start running to something. To our vision of what it means to be an American today. See, I'm an America First conservative. I don't apologize for that. But to put this country first, we now have to rediscover what this country is. What does it mean to be an American? To me, it means we believe in the ideals of the American Revolution. Ideals like meritocracy and the pursuit of excellence. The idea that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. That is why we will end affirmative action and race-based quotas in every area of American life. It's been a cancer on our national soul, and we are done with it. What does it mean to be an American? It means we believe in the rule of law. And I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That is why we will use our own military to secure our own southern border and our northern border too. That's what it means to stand for the rule of law. What does it mean to be American? It means the people we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government. Not this managerial bureaucracy and those three-letter agencies that actually run the show today. You're going to drain the swamp, here's how you do it. Tell those people, if I can't work for you for more than 8 years as your next president, well, guess what? Neither should any of those federal bureaucrats reporting into me either. 8-year term limits for the bureaucracy instead of the civil service protections. That's how you drain the swamp. 75% reduction in the number of federal bureaucrats. We have too many of them as it is today. You got government agencies that should no longer exist. From the FBI to the U.S. Department of Education to the ATF to the CDC. We got to be willing to get in there and actually shut them down. That's how you revive the integrity of a constitutional republic. Rescind a majority of those regulations that are unconstitutional that Congress never actually had the courage to pass. See, these are the basic ideas, the rules of the road of how you run a constitutional republic. I think it's time for a CEO in the White House. Don't start with last year's budget as the baseline. Start with 0 as the baseline, and then ask what's actually necessary. What does it mean to be American? It means we believe that every person's voice and vote counts equally in our elections. That means we need elections we can actually trust. Single day voting on election day as a national holiday, paper ballots, government issued voter ID to match the voter file. This isn't controversial, this is common sense. See, these aren't black ideas or white ideas. These aren't even really Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. These are fundamentally American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure in this country. All right, and I believe deep in my heart those ideals still exist. I'm running for president to revive them. E pluribus unum means from many, one. And I'll tell you what happened in my generation. I'm 38 years old. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. I'll tell you what happened. We were taught to celebrate our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways we are really just the same as Americans, bound by that common set of ideals. We've lost them. But I'll tell you, here's how we're going to get them back. It's by all of us, not just me, all of us starting to speak openly again. Say in public what you will say in private at the dinner table. You want to know the best measure of how our country is doing? What's the best measure of America's health? It's not the number of green pieces of paper in our bank account. It's not even the number of ballots we cast every November. That's just the final act. The best measure of our country's health is the percentage of people who feel free to say what we actually think in public. Right now we're doing poorly. The only way we're going to fix it is all of us starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you will say in private. Say it with a spine. Say it with conviction. Say it with respect. But part of respect is that you respect your neighbor enough to tell him what you actually think. That is what this campaign is about. Speaking the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Speaking the truth, not just to the other side, but to our own side right here at home. That's what we're doing in this campaign. That's what we're doing this morning. Speak the truth without apology. God is real. There are two genders. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border. Parents determine the education of their children. The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind. Capitalism is still the best system known to man to lift us up from poverty. There are 3 branches of government in the United States, not 4. And the U.S. Constitution, it is the strongest and greatest guarantor of freedom in human history. That's the truth. We fight for the truth. We stand up for the truth. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That's what American exceptionalism is all about. And that's what we're going to revive to save this great country. Thank you for coming out this morning. We're just getting warmed up. Want to open this up, practice what we preach a little bit. I want to hear from you. I'm asking you to seat me across the table from Xi Jinping and represent this country. Every question's fair game. Foreign policy, domestic policy, faith, family. I'm here to speak the truth and I want to hear from you. Tell me your name, sir.